And all the rest of us will say the other big thing we know when there's any new people, we're like, if you're doing lots of massage, protect yourself, look after yourself. You do not want broken backs and hands. We turn off our music. I think we're music done now. Lisa says 5 years of listening to you. I should have really implemented these things by now. She nods. But what I would say is one of the biggest lies, and we haven't started yet, people were just, there's still a few people coming in. One of the biggest lies we're all ever told is that knowledge is power. Like, knowledge is not power, knowledge is knowledge. Going and executing the knowledge and putting it into practice, that's the difference. Like, that's the transformation bit. And Sheena says, lots of little Kirsty nuggets. Being a one-man band is lonely. So it's lovely to have the inspiration and the chat. Oh, that's good to know. But yeah, takeaway before we start, definitely to think about, you go all the way through school, our UK schooling system, with everyone telling that you've got to learn and knowledge is everything. Well, it's not. Actually doing something with knowledge is everything. And the other thing, obviously, we have a massive change afoot with what is going to have with AI. So our knowledge might become very useless compared to its knowledge. However, I'm very certain that we've got a pretty AI-proof industry. We should all be very happy that we're looking at having a job right now that I do not think the robots will be coming for first. And Polly says she's definitely feeling re-inspired. She needs to get there and inspire her team to get them consistent. Yeah, and that is a big thing. I know Karen that's joined us tonight as well. She's got quite a big team as well. And it is a different game for those of you that have got a team, because not only is it about keeping yourself inspired, it's then how you make them do what you want. Okay, awesome. Lovely to hear from you all. We will crack on. Night 3. So first thing we're going to do, because we have been here for 3 nights first, a little energy boost. Just give yourself a big clap for those of you that have been making it. And what I also would do is let's just do some little stretches for our hands, because just remember, for us and what we do, stretching and moving is so important. You should definitely get yourself a little routine that you do throughout the day and at the end of the day. But moving is always a good thing. So, bit of a recap. Day 1, we looked at why, our special why, that unique thread that is then going to control everything and make sure we can be stand out different. And then last night, we started to think about touch points and tried to make it like little micro change touch points, things we could actually implement in the next week or so. Now, if you take both those things, if you take finding your why and your unique DNA, and then starting to work on your journey, so basically adding day 1 and day 2 together, theoretically, we're then starting to be better and to produce better experiences. There's definitely a place like further to go, because this is like a skeleton micro version. But if we're starting to be better, that's when we can really start thinking about our value and worth and the money. Now, the other thing is, we are doing this in a literal perfect moment. We are right in the golden quarter of retail sales. So it is a great time to be thinking about this. So let's get ourselves, hold on, I'm just going to work out my screen share. Bear with me, it's not playing nice. Little interlude. I'm that little wheel that goes round on your computer. Okay, we are going to start day 3 then, charging what you are worth and having your clients thank you. Okay, perfect. That's where we are. Let's start then with a very, very important statement. If you don't value your time, your clients will not either. That's our kind of number 1 lesson for tonight. Whatever you are showing them daily, weekly, monthly, you are training them to understand. So if you are making your treatments cheap, they are trained to expect those treatments to be cheap. If you are not sticking to your cancellation policy, you are training them not to stick to a cancellation policy. It's just like having children. You are training them, and we're not training them in the right thing if that's what we're doing. Now, being realistic and looking at the demographic and all the faces on the screen, most of us have about 9 million things to do. We are generally of the age and family position where a lot of us have children. You've got businesses. We're also potentially the age where we're having to deal and help look after our parents as well. We've got families. There is just millions of things all the time. And when you've got millions of things all the time, it's no wonder that for us, we don't actually hold that value in our time. But that's the thing we need to believe and be ready to change. Now, a few things about our industry that are magic. And this one, I remember when Luke first came into it, was like, this is madness, but amazing at the same time. The skincare market sort of created this magic where there is a definite belief in our world that if something is more expensive, it is better. You can see that all the time in skincare. And now you and I know that that is often not true when you start to look at actual ingredients, some of the very big expensive brands. However, that magic is there. And so I wouldn't ignore it. The other thing that we should think about, and this is just something that I have pondered, I find our setup in beauty quite strange that the price tag belongs to the treatment and not to the person. I really think we ought to take a leaf out of the hair industry's book in that, is it not complete madness that a 19-year-old new starter can do a body massage and charge £80 for it, but after 25 years of doing body massage, being unbelievably experienced, having done multiple different mediums, shiatsu, acupuncture, Indonesian, all the rest of it, that massage is still £80 if I do it. Is that just not all a bit strange? And so those of you that do work for yourself and have a team, it is worth thinking about for the next coming year. Is that something you could change? Should it be about kind of ability and experience? And particularly those of you who are working on your own and maybe older. I was working with a client last week and she is 63 and she's like, no more. Like, I have now done this for 30 years. If someone wants a £60 facial, they can go somewhere else. If they want me and everything I know, then it's different here. And that is an amazing change to think about. Or just look at how hair does it with the levels of experience all the way up to directors and question why on earth doesn't beauty do that? So just a couple of things to think about in valuing time. Now I'm going to put up on the screen a page that you have seen of me, Kirsty. Now, most of you are here for the last couple of nights, so you've seen it already. So I really don't want to go through it again. Anyone that wasn't, it is there. I am super lucky to have spent the last 24 years in salon and spa world. Today, I was very spa. I have been in proper spa land today. Luke and I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, drove all the way down to a very beautiful spa called Beaverbrook. If any of you haven't been and want a spa to go to, it is a really special one. What was even more special is as I was carrying all my boxes through the door, the first person that greeted me this morning was Andy Murray, who said, oh, would you like me to hold the door open? I was like, yes, you can hold my door open. You can hold my boxes too. But I have been at a Christmas event selling product all day, perfectly timed. That is literally a picture of today on the screen, thinking of you guys and everything we were going to talk about tonight. And the M25 was very kind because there was a chance I wasn't going to get back and we were going to be doing this in the car, but I made it. But in terms of my value and what I can add, truthfully, the real truth of that is, what do you get out of what we do this evening? What do you get out of the couple of nights before? You are the perfect judge of how useful my information and how helpful it is. And really, you should be the true judges of that. So I'm leaving that one with you. Okay. Now, from this 24 years, what I have been doing more recently, I've always dreamt, one of my big dreams was making like the perfect course to help you create the best salon in your area. And it's called Treat. And as part of the Treat course, we talk about becoming a CEO. But our CEOs are a bit different. Our CEO is a chief experience officer. So what I want to do first tonight is start thinking about your worth and your maths and the revenue side of your business, but thinking about it in two ways. The perfect CEO model versus the average, very busy therapist salon owner. So being really stereotypical about the differences so you can help recognize which side you are in and where you might need to do some work or get some extra help or guidance. So our first column is our busy therapist owner. Hands up if any of you, to do the costings for your treatments, the first thing you did was go around and have a look at your competitors' costings. Or just the industry norms for those treatments. So basing maths on competitors and the prices around you. What you have to just remember is your maths is not their maths. Like your rent structure or building is completely different. The washing powder that you choose to use on the towels is completely different. The product range you use is different. You can't look at their maths. It doesn't make any sense. What we need to do is go over to the other side, and your maths from now needs to start being based on your life goals. Okay, what you want. So what do you want, i.e., where do you want to live? What car do you want to drive? What holiday do you want to go on? How much money do you want to spend? And then work out how much money you actually need to make a month. Because once you've got that, and then on top of that, you understand the actual costs and real profit in your business, then that's a really sound place to be working from. Back to our busy therapist owner, often be using discounts. They are never to be recommended in terms of you once again train your client to want and recognize discounts. We want to be on the other side where we are willing to give things away for sure, but we're doing it through value added extras. So can we add more time? Can we give them an extra 15 minutes? Can we put a foot ritual or an eye revive treatment as a bonus into what they're having? Can we add in the festive drink or festive hot chocolate and their snack as part of the bonus? The busy therapist owner normally is also running treatments only. Whereas in our CEO world, our chief experience officers, what we really want is income stacking. What else can you be doing to generate money other than just treatments? The very obvious one, and we'll be talking about it tonight, is retail and products. But it then can be other things, like have you thought about having memberships where people pay like a monthly fee and get a certain amount of treatment a month, running workshops? What other things can you be layering in so that you're not always chained to a treatment bed? And then the thing I meet most from our busy therapist owners is someone that is terrified of maths. Let's face it, a lot of us became beauty therapists because we didn't like maths at school. In fact, we ran completely the opposite away from the maths at school. But if that is you, that is fine. That is totally normal. But you need to find some help and support to make it more simple, because without it, essentially your business might just be a really busy hobby. And what we might be doing is just confusing being busy with actually creating a real business. Now, don't get me wrong, pricing and pricing yourself when it's yours feels really hard. Okay, why? What these essentially are and what we need to work out and what you need to work out for yourself and write down is, where is like the limiting belief inside you? What makes you unhappy and gives you the fear? Is it that you are going to lose clients? When I talk to owners, that's normally the biggest fear, is that if they put their prices up, they're going to walk in the door and nobody will come back. Anyone ever had that fear before? Now, a couple of things. if you do get into conversations with people once you put your prices up, a really lovely way of explaining it is, would they ever expect to be in a job where they never got a pay rise? Like, who does that apart from us lot? Like, who? And in the first day, I introduced you to Jane, who is in our collective, and told you that on all of her core treatments, we put them up 15 to 20 pounds of the starting position. And she was definitely, we worked a lot on her limiting belief. She was definitely fearful of it. And I asked her a few weeks after what had happened. And she said, so 2 people were not happy. One I had a conversation with and she accepted my explanations. And the other one did leave. She left. She went somewhere else in a huff and went and had another treatment, which she paid more for, but she left angrily. But then she came back and said, yeah, I paid more and it really was nowhere near as good as yours. And she was like, well, here we go. So nobody left her. So the last time very recently that we have done this. The other thing, I think, when it is your business and you are the owner, there's often a fear that you're being judged. There's often this fear that the client almost feels like you're reaching your hand into their wallet to take out the money to put into your wallet so that you can go off shopping or to go and buy a new car or a nicer house. Like, that's just not how it works. You have to put that in a limiting belief and go, it doesn't matter if that's even what they think. They do not understand enough of this in business and how it works. Some people just don't feel good enough. Am I good enough to charge £120 for a facial? Or how do I communicate the value of this so that someone really understands that it's worth that value? And if we've got that unique why and offering, and then we're making these fabulous, interesting treatment journeys that have got twists and quirks that no one else has got, and then you've got your list of life goals and dreams, so you know what money you need and you know what money you're making now, there is a gap. There is a gap in the middle, and it is simply, we need to fill that gap. We need to find the belief and the ability to fill that gap. And don't be scared of that. That's just the start of an action plan. That's an amazing start of an action plan. You just need to have it clearly. Now, I've always said in these 3 seminars that the plan is always, my job is to deliver value. I've got to deliver you tangible things that you can go off or things that you learn. And so I did want to share with you some tips on pricing psychology that luxury brands do all the time so that they can signal their worth and why it's expensive without saying a word. So if you jot these headings down, we've got structure, materials, naming and tiers. Okay. So thinking of your price lists and menus, luxury brands use structure to do it. So the first thing they will do is they have quite clean, uncomplicated, not cluttered menus or price lists. So basically thinking about simplifying the offer so that it doesn't look too cluttered, not having hundreds and hundreds of treatments. There is always a flow within that structure that tends to go, does go from the hero, so like the hero treatment or the hero packages, all the way down the kind of price points to the add-ons. So clean, unstructured, decluttered treatment menus, starting with the big berthas, the expensive signature treatments, coming down. And that there is an anchoring system where the concept is if the highest one is first, and that's the first anchor, people feel safer after they've got through that first price and are much more likely to choose higher price points. And the other thing is humans have got this, and you'll know it yourself, you know you do this, we have got this weird psychology with numbers. Most people don't like odd numbers. So a treatment needs to be £70 or £75, not £73. Something for most humans about 73 is weird. So what luxury brands will do is they'll have really consistent increments. So if it's a £75, there'll be an £85 or £120, neat increments, basically signaling like a kind of calm authority that can help you value and trust what they're doing. So clean and decluttering menus, most expensive first, anchoring it in, round numbers, consistent increments. We then get to number 2, the materials and the packaging. So in our world, and this psychology is for most industries, but I'm translating it to be our world, we're thinking about things like the actual print of a price list, if you still have it printed, your business cards, if you're printing off a product of the month poster or putting little flyers about, like how can they signal worth and being more expensive? So the first thing is always the paper type. Paper gets sold in thickness. So GSM, it's being sold in. The stuff that goes in your printer and your photocopier is 80 GSM, whereas more luxury brands will be kind of working from 150 to 400 GSMs to print things on, because it instantly feels heavier and more expensive. I always remember when we made our refillable deodorant, we had a consultant come who had ran big brands at L'Oreal. And he literally picked it up and went, well, are you going to put a weight in it to make it feel heavier? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we'll put a weight in it. I was like, I am not putting a weight in it to make it heavier to post around the world, but that's what they do. Matte texture. The fashion for the last 10 years at least has been that something that is meant to be more expensive has a matte texture as opposed to a shiny, silky satin texture. And the only time we break that rule is if your why means it needs to shine and shimmer and gleam and glitter, which could be possible. But otherwise, I would veer towards matte. When you're designing things, they'll also use what we call dead space. So being brave and leaving quite distinct space within design, not cluttering it all up. Again, never any clutter. And the other thing is having really good photography. Now, my job always is trying to find new ways to save money. I don't like finding new ways to spend money, but good photography, I've got a little bit here, like these, good photography does really make your life a lot easier. So it might be something that on your pricing and budget, you are willing to spend some more money on. Names, next. Names create an expectation of price, whether that's your business name, whether that's your treatment names. If you call something like, you just put facial, 60 minutes, or mini facial, I don't expect that to be as expensive as if it's called, and again, this will be totally dictated by your why and what the treatments are called. But I don't know, let's say, for instance, the confidence and calming glow reset facial. Instantly, something in the human psyche says that is meant to be more expensive. So naming is part of this game. And then the last one, I want you to think about your bottles of wine. Tiers. The wine industry does this brilliantly. Think about standing in Sainsbury's or Tesco, looking at wine. Multiple different prices. Very rarely, and they've done loads of tests, people don't choose the cheapest one. They choose the middle one or the next one, like the second to top one. There is an actual psychology of which one you pick. So it goes without saying that it would make sense for us in each section of our menu to have at least 4 things. So if we're in facials, if we've got 4 and they've got 4 different price from kind of higher to lower, you are most likely, psychologists would say, for them to pick the 2 middle ones rather than the upper and the lower. And then if you're being clever, you need to make sure that those 2 middle ones are your most profitable facial, working on that human psychology. So those are a few little tips on things we can be doing to make ourselves feel more luxury. Now, put your hands up if you have ever said these words out loud. I can't sell products. I'm not that person. I'm not a salesperson. I don't do retail. Yeah, I can see some hands. And if they haven't gone up, we're probably lying. Okay. Retail also feels very hard to therapists, whether they're owners or whether they're the employed therapists. Why? Let's go with the whys. So for the owners, potentially the first thing is we can't actually afford to buy and hold the stock. So we need to think, are there ways around this? Do our brands have affiliate systems? Are there other ways of drop shipping product? Could be that we don't know how to merchandise it. Or one I hear a lot is I literally don't have any space. I live in a broom cupboard. I can barely get my treatment bed in there. There is no room for retail. Is there any way? Let's think outside the box. Is there any place we can do that? And then the last two really go together. This normally is the real crux of it. Just a genuine fear of seeming like pressurizing saleswoman that they've just paid for a treatment and now you're trying to make them pay for something more. And this belief that it's kind of anti the caring therapist. Now, picture this. Let me ask you a question. If a client came in and said, I'm interested in this body massage, tell me about it, would you not give them a like unbelievably eloquent description of what it was going to happen, what you did, how you're going to feel, what it was going to be like? Okay. Or if they came up to you and said, Sarah, like, I'm really worried. I've got this like red patch. It keeps flaking. I don't know what it's doing. Or I think I've got rosacea. Would every instinct in your body not be to help, talk, and tell them all the things that you have learned and know? Okay. And then they end up having their body massage and they end up having their facial. And then we don't sell them any product. And then when I ask you why, you go, oh, but I don't sell. I'm like, dude, you just took 80 pounds off her. You definitely sold something. And so this is the fundamental bit for me, is that we're very confused by what selling is. We are selling all the time. When you get up and put your uniform on, you are selling yourself. When you describe a treatment to someone, you're selling yourself. When you clean the place so it looks beautiful, you are selling yourself. The bottle at the end is not really any different. And the question is do you really think that they know more than you do, that we should be letting them off into Sephora or to TikTok land to go and choose their skincare on their own? No, we literally have like a moral imperative to not. All the years of training, all the like unbelievable knowledge we have, it's madness not to be helping them. Like, we're doing them an absolute disservice. So when I asked the question at the beginning, and if you said, I am not a salesperson, part of me thinks good, because I actually don't want you to be a salesperson. What you need to be is you, which is an amazingly educated teacher. That's all you need to do. You need to start teaching them. Because if you start teaching them about what they need to do and what's happening to their skin, the getting them to take the bottle bit is absolutely the easiest thing. Once you have changed your mindset of what is actually going on. And if we're going to do it at any point, this golden quarter is the moment to. It is crazy to ignore it. We're in what the retailers call the golden quarter. The run up, that 3 months run up to Christmas. I know that a lot of you feel like you are overworked in a treatment room, or might even be like me, getting to the point where your hands generally hurt or your fingers hurt. If we added a bottle onto each treatment, we would need to do less treatments. So if that's one of the challenges for you, we need to think about how to do that. It is a literal lever that you can pull. It's not many times there's levers in your business that are so obvious that you can pull to enable you to do less work. And right now, and I absolutely saw it all day long today at the Christmas event, clients are buying presents. They're literally wandering around with lists, needing to buy stuff. Like, why would we let them buy it somewhere else when we are the experts? I want you to write down 3 words for those of you that are taking notes. If you write number of treatments, so number of treatments, frequency, and average spend. So number of treatments, frequency of treatments, average spend. They are the 3 things we can look at in your business to help you create more revenue. The first one is the one that everyone obsesses about, the number of clients. So sorry, change your first one to number of clients, not number of treatments. That's Kirsty. Number of clients. That's the one. And people have asked so many questions over the last few days. How do I get more clients? How do I get more clients? How do I get more clients? That one is the hardest one to do and normally the most expensive because it's the one that requires marketing to get to someone that doesn't know you to get them to come. And there's this amazing kind of maths for all of us that don't love maths, which is if you could increase your number of clients by 25%, if you could increase the frequency with which they all came by just 25%, and then you increase the amount they spent by just 25%, then your entire turnover doubles. Okay? So I would suggest that we stop only thinking about the first one and really start thinking about the current clients and increasing their frequency and how much they are spending. Like, how lovely would it be to think that you could have a world where you could do 4 90-minute treatments a day and sell them each a product or two, and that'd be it. I just have to see 4 of you. I just have to deal with 4 of you. And you'd be easily making enough money. Okay. Now, the pictures that I've put up on the screen are really purposeful in that they are some of the events I've been doing recently with some little retail ideas. So thinking about merchandising, because that is where we are going to do next. So just recapping that one to make sure you've got it right. Number of clients, frequency they come, and the average spend. And each going up 25% equals double the turnover. Okay, so we are in our action moment. Every night we've had an action thing. We're going to think about things we could do to change and tweak a retail space. Now, I know some of you are thinking I don't have one. Don't worry, I've got that planned in too. So the joy of your retail space is that you can use it to help build your confidence and make this easier. It doesn't just rely on you and your voice. The space can be doing it for you as well. So it's a really lovely thing to be focused on. And when the email comes out, which will probably be tomorrow morning, what I'm sending you today is a retail like audit checklist. So this beautiful checklist of all the things to go through and have a look at your retail space. So thinking about putting our client goggles on again, like ignore what we know, let's be them. Head off to a retail area. Now, the first thing is some of you will say, I don't have one. Okay, so if you don't have one, what else can you do instead? The biggest thing would be to speak to your product brands to see whether they do an affiliate system where, for instance, that you can have a unique code and you can send the clients to their website. They buy on the product house's website, they send them the product, but you still get the kickback and the profit. And that way you haven't had to hold the stock, you haven't had to have it there. It's a really nice way to do it without holding the inventory. But I would also be finding out, can you buy dummies from them? Can you get any bottles where you can have a little mini display and pop up a little poster that says efficiently delivered to your door? So it becomes clear that you can get them the product and make it positive, lean in, go, we'll be efficiently shipping it to your door so you don't even need to carry it. And then with the affiliate system, you can even help them order it there and then the brand sends it to their house. The other question I would have for those of you that don't have one, an area, is why? And is the why anything to do with any of those limiting beliefs that we've been talking about? And can we fix those? Okay. So the rest of you do have some, and it could go from being a tiny space to a big retail space. But these things all work. This is all in the retail audit, but I want to give us some ideas because then in the chat, I would love to know which thing you're going to try and change in your retail space this week. So first up, for instance, is retail definitely part of your client journey? Like not just something that happens at the end. Can you have it building in and flowing all the way through? Like, is it obvious that they can see where the retail is, that they know it's for them? Like, do they even know that they can buy it as opposed to it just looking like it's our product that's on the shelf? Okay. Pretend that they are on their own and you're not there. Would they understand what it all is? Like, would they understand that this is the facial part, this is the body part, this is the manicure, hand, foot? Like, is it logically set out for them? Is it priced? The easiest way to know that something is for sale is for it to have a price on it. And the other thing is it linked to your why? So is there a little point of sale there that explains why, or why you've chosen that brand and how it's linked? Is it connected to the treatment? Could you put some point of sale there that says, these are the products that we've used in your treatment today, or experience these products in our amazing skin workout facial? So it's obvious, because you'd think it should be obvious. Things just aren't obvious to everybody. I would also suggest, think about the places that you love going, other big retail shops that you love going to that sell beauty products. Like, what is it that they're doing really well? Like, is it that they're much more interactive? Could you have a beautiful bowl and jug and some water, some flannels, some tissues, so that it's obvious that they can test and use things? And the other thing to put on your list to start practicing, and I would just make this a game. And if you've got a team, it becomes a game. When you are speaking to someone and you've done all your teaching, it is normally needed that at the end of the paragraph, you say, are you going to take that with you? Or are you going to take one of those home? You need that asking question, and don't be afraid of it. If they don't want to, they're just going to say no. The world is not going to fall down. It's going to be fine. It's your moral imperative to help them. But asking that question, and when I've done this with teams, we'll like set a week's task, and everyone's really uncomfortable about it. And we're like, right, we're all going to do it, and we're going to see how many people get the sale. Once you make it a game, and a game to yourself, everything becomes much better. So on your notes or in the chat, I would put a game of how many products you want to sell from now till Christmas, those of you that have got them. What's your target going to be? And what's the one thing you think you could go and tweak tomorrow or next week to make this retail area better? We'll have a look. So Alex is saying that she's got another business promoting skincare and health nutrition, and they take the link and they can purchase off her link and she gets the kickback. It works really well as a small brand, but you still have to advertise it to make sure they know that that process is still there, that you can still help them get product. Any changes anyone thinks they're going to make. And you'll have a big list to look at by tomorrow morning. What's the one thing you could go and do? And it might even be go and call my brand. Those of you that don't have a retail space, it might be go and call my brand, see if I can get an affiliate link. It might be I am going to put a shelf where I think there needs to be one. But just remember that people do get confused by what's your product and what is their product. Kerry says, I've got Tropic, but I don't show clients that they can buy it. Easy win is find a way to show them that they can buy it. Because realistically, they're going to go off and buy something if you've been spending an hour talking to them about their skin and what's wrong with it or how they need to improve it. She says, yeah, need to work on that. Some of these things always are just bringing it to the forefront of your mind. So you go, okay, that needs to be on a list. Why have I been doing that? What is that about? So Sarah says, I mainly do massage, so not sure on what to sell. So massage oil is the obvious one. When you sell facial and body products, it's always harder in any brand to sell body over facial. But there's other elements, like we sell like muscle ease gels or warming gels. They tend to work really well. You've got the tools elements that can go in massage as well. So like tools like the hyper ice guns through to kind of the balls that you can roll on. Okay, awesome. Keep popping your thoughts in. Got a reflexologist, hard. Okay, we'll put these in we'll go through the questions at the end. We'll start thinking of some things. I'm going to work on product knowledge. Awesome. So ultimately, what we've done over the last 3 nights is we've started building. We've been looking at the DNA and the why. We've been looking at client journey. We're starting to think about pricing. We've essentially got the skeleton of our signature experience. I've been trying to make sure that we've got our quick wins, but I also want to think about the bigger wins. Like, what really is your dream outcome for the business? What do you want for next year and beyond? And what does the dream look like? Like, is it creating a business that gives you the income and lifestyle that you really want? Is it being booked out from word of mouth? Is it having a salon that clients travel distances from? Treating less clients, like I said, every day. That means that you can deal with less people but be earning more from those sales. Maybe opening more salons, creating a team, charging for workshops, starting to add in those different multiple layers. Maybe even some of you are thinking, no, I want a training academy. I want product lines. I'm going to become the renowned expert. Can you make it real? That is the question, okay? And the gap is the difference between knowing that it's possible. You know it's possible. You've seen other people do it. And believing that you can make it happen. And that's really where most salon owners stall. And that's what I've made the collective and the inner circle for. Because ultimately, I have lived this journey. I have lived it. I know what it feels like to wonder, can I really do this? I can remember sitting with my first ever run of Pink's Boutique products, sitting, looking at them on the table going, is anyone ever going to buy this? Like, that unbelievable, can I do this? Can I do it? Is this possible? And I still remember the first lady, a lady from Scotland, Julie Thompson, that bought our first ever manicure products. And you fast forward, and the pictures that you can see on the screen on the right-hand side, the bottom picture was my real pinch me moment, where I stood in this unbelievable spa in Dubai, looking at our products, overlooking the Dubai skyline, going, oh my God, how did I get here? Or the picture above is me teaching in the summer in the King of Morocco spa when the whole royal family was there, the princess was next door, and I again had one of those wow, how I got here. But I know from what I did it's possible, and what I now am having is it's an amazing experience helping other therapists do the same. And so some of the pictures you can see, you've got Jane and her apothecary kitchen, the green kitchen at the top. She's been able to literally completely remodel her building to have her apothecary kitchen, raise her prices, and literally decide and cement that why that she is going to be the god fairy of fertility. We've then got Elegant Touch underneath, who went out and we are going to win this professional beauty award, and did. The bottom picture might be a bit harder for you to understand or see. It looks like my pink lunch boxes. But Maxine, a lady called Maxine, who's working with me at the minute, the seasonal face hole guide that you have, she was working with me in the collective on that, and she has literally sent me a picture. I had goosebumps. She has got every month of next year with everything in it ready for what goes under that face hole. And then at the very top in her blue uniform, that's Helen, who has been in the collective, and she has the salon in her house on the dairy farm. And with the work we've been doing, has literally now got plans to be bringing that out into this beautiful glass-fronted standalone building, potentially with some spa glamping pods next to it as well. So the lesson is, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right strategy, and you've got the right support, then you can take your salon beyond just being a business. It can be a brand. It can be an experience. It can be a legacy. I've lived it. I know it. I have helped other people do it. So how? How do we make this extraordinary happen? And this is what Kirsty has been working a lot on. I have made this 5-step framework for business growth called Treat. So this is the culmination of everything I've ever done. And it's a very aptly named for us program called Treat. It is the biggest training course I've ever devised. And it's a literal course to fill all of the gaps that we have. The ones that we've talked about over the last few days, but many, many more, with the aim of basically creating the best salon in your area. It's one framework, but we've got two different ways of delivering it. And I know that the owners who win, the salon owners who win, are those who like see beyond the four walls that they are in right now. That's what you've got to think. So many of us are stuck seeing just what we see right now. And that's what we will work on in the inner circle and the collective. So Treat, this course, is split into TREANT. And we've been taking tiny snippets from the T. So the things that we have been doing. The T is all about becoming the chief experience officer. So it's about crafting your brand. It's about shifting your personal mindset and belief so that you are utterly capable to achieve what you want. And it's about having really measurable growth. Then we go through redefining the experience, which we've been touching on and doing the skeleton on, but it's literally how you make the perfect treatment, the perfect journey, the perfect treatment spaces, everything, the menu, the concepts, all the wording, the websites. We look at all elevating the systems, all the automation we can do, how we are going to be able to use AI to make our lives much, like save so many hours and keep us more sane than we currently are. And the big one that I know loads of you are talking about is how you attract and retain those clients. Like, what are the magic magnets? How are you going to draw people to you? Never lose them. What are we going to do with social and all that guilt of social media and make sure that we can really do that to the ability that we need to? And partnerships, with the last thing being where we get to, the whole aim is that we can fulfill whatever your why and your gaps and your personal aims are with your turnover and profit. Because who would like to be paid more per hour and have smarter business models? Like, literally, it's about making you the best salon in the area. I'm going to pop into the chat links through to go and look at it, because I've just given you the brief outline, but the whole syllabus is there. Let me know if we would like to be the best salon in our area. So, any of you who know that you would like to keep working with me, for those who want to continue and for those that this really resonates with, I'm going to show you two pathways to do that. I have either got the inner circle, I have got the collective. But just know this, the fact that you are here, like the fact that you are in this room, giving up your 3 evenings in a row and taking the time out, you know that there is a different level within you because you're here and other people aren't. You know that there's something different. You know that there's a different level within you and the income you can reach, the number of clients, the experience you'd be giving, how you look after your team, but basically what you get and how you want your world to run. And so I've devised the Treat course, but you can do it in 2 different ways that I'm going to share with you. And then if anyone's got any questions at the end, we can go through it. So the first one is the inner circle. So what happens in the inner circle is this is going through the Treat course, but with a really close connection to Kirsty. So a lot of Kirsty. So you will watch little bits of it online, but every month you'll be doing coaching with me to go through it. Every month you'll get a half-day session going through it. And then every quarter we do a day in person. And then also before you start, I come and do a literal like personal salon audit. So spend the whole day with you working through your world and your business and what you want, what's happening now, how you want it to be. And then you get a Kirsty in your pocket as well. You get like a Kirsty WhatsApp that you can basically get to me and ask whatever you need to. And the value of that course, when it's all added up, comes to 90,495. And we have got a Black Friday members offer where it's discounted to 5,995. You can either pay that as a one-off where you get a £200 decor voucher as a bonus, or you can do it monthly and it's split monthly. Now, the Inner Circle is a program that's delivered over 9 months. So you get 9 months of very close Kirsty working through with you. but the payment plan is split over 12 months. So if you want to do it over 12 months, you can. The other thing that's amazing in this, if any of you have ever been into our spa finishing school, where you'll see all of the courses that I've ever devised. So things like deep tissue massages, skin workout facials, luxury holistic manicures, there's like 20 odd treatments in there worth £3,000 on their own. You get all of those as well. So the first way of doing this, the first pathway and road, is the inner circle. The second road is our collective. And we've got 50 Black Friday spaces. So we only open it at certain times. The intake is like at schools, where we open the doors and then we close the doors. And so this isn't open again until later into the next year. So the Black Friday spaces in the collective, how the collective works, you get all of the treat course, again, which on its own is worth the £5,000. You then get this amazing, if any of you are here at the very beginning, I was talking to Karen, who's in the collective, this vault of just helpful information. So she'd been going through that today, and like documents about washing towels amazingly, or all the festive drinks have just gone in there. It's continually being filled. And then what happens is you work through the program. So you're working through the program that's in video format, and then every 2 weeks, there is a Q&A session where anyone who wants to can come and join, and you have me to answer all the questions and help you with the parts that you are on. So the collective version is £7,995. But for Black Friday, literally from tonight when we finish until Cyber Monday, it's discounted to 1,380, which is a massive saving. And if you split it, so the collective is run for 12 months, and you can either pay in full, again, you get a £50 decor bonus, or you can pay it in monthly with no extra like interest fees or anything on it. We just divide it up literally over 12 months to be helpful, and it's £115, which, if you think about it, is 1.5 clients a month to make sure that you have this ability and this access to really fulfill that level that you know you're reaching for. So you've got that amazing discount, but for Black Friday, we're also giving anyone that joins before Monday evening 10 of the Spa Finishing School courses. So I'll pop into the chat the links, but 10 of the courses, those courses on their own come to £1,500. So if you know that you're wanting to learn to do stretch massage, or you've been desperate to learn to do Indonesian massage, they're all in there. You get 10 of them. And we're also giving an extra month free. So you're going to get 13 months for the price of 12, because the timings you can have December as well, starting to get ready, because I know how busy most people are going to be, but I want that end bit of December where you might get some time off, that you could be prepping and then really hit the ground running in January. You get an extra 30-minute call with me, and also anyone that's in the collective, for the time you're in there, you get 20% off trade price for Pink's Proverb Spa Decor. Obviously, if you use them, that's very useful. If you don't, the Spa Decor side is really, really useful as well. So I'm just trying to let Polly in, who has disappeared off her screen. So that is the collective. Now, we only have 50 spaces for the collective, and we take 12 people into the inner circle, and it is open from literally now until 10:30 on Monday evening. This is the only place this all exists. Nobody else gets to see it. It's only you guys. So that offer is there. Anyone that is thinking about it, we'll pop a link in there if you want to book in a call with me to speak about it. I'm going to make my calendar so that you could call me at any point and book in a call over this weekend. But just have an imagine. Imagine that every client that leaves you says, oh, that was the best, whatever it was ever. And that they rebook, they probably bought their product as well. That you've got a full treatment calendar, filled with more of your premium treatments as opposed to the cheaper ones. You're getting a reputation as the most sought after salon. We get rid of the social media guilt. If you've got a team, we've got passionate, loyal team, and you get surrounded, like we have been for the last 3 nights, by not only me, but like industry peers who you can work with, give you advice, and make you strive. Because what we do in that collective is it is a group, it is a hub that everyone can be together and speak together as well. You need to imagine that. It's also worth thinking that there is a cost to doing nothing. If you do nothing, people think, oh, I'm just doing nothing. But there is actually a real cost to doing nothing. Like, do you lose your premium clients to competitors? Do you stay stuck in price wars, discounting, or pulling your hair out about still not being able to put music on reels? Like, do you feel chained to your treatment bed still, or managing HR chaos with 15 different therapists who are all sick on the same day? And 12 months from now, you're like, okay, nothing changed. I listened, I felt that inspiration, I had that feeling in my stomach, and nothing changed. Just remember, when you are buying education, that you are essentially buying someone else's life experiences so that you can consume them and not pay with your own time. It's essentially like fast passes. It's like a fast pass. And if someone said you have to pay £115 a month just for the year, and you have fast forwarded 5 or 10 years, like, would it feel worth it? Because the single most important thing to remember is the most precious thing we all have is time. Like, it is always, always time. So I'm just going to pop up on the screen. There is the codes, and we're popping them into the chat as well. If anyone wants to look at the syllabus in a bit more detail, that it is all there. Also, there's a link going into the chat that if you want to book in a half-an-hour call with me to talk very specifically about the place that you are, because we all will be in slightly different places, and what you need to see if I think that it works or whether it doesn't, I'll always be really, like I'm always am, brutally honest and tell you the truth. Remember, by tomorrow morning, you'll get the email, which has got the retail audit worksheets in and the replays. Someone asked in the chat whether you can share the replays with like team members or other therapists. That is not a problem whatsoever. Of course, we would love them. We would love them to have it. It has been and is always such a gift for me to be able to serve you. So just from me, a genuine thank you for being there. It is so lovely to have you. But also give yourself a little hug or a high five, because most of you have done all 3 nights in a row, and just be like really proud of yourself that you are willing to give that time to your learning. Like, as I said, there's a lot of people that are not here that don't do that. So you should be super proud of yourself. And what we'll do is I'll take the screen down and we'll go to Q&A like normal. So if anyone has got any questions from all the things we covered tonight, any questions about the collective or the inner circle or just retail, I'm just going to have a look. So Alison says, thank you. It's been so useful. Let me scroll through. This is where I start looking at screens. Okay, can you pop up for me, Luke? See if I've missed any questions from earlier. Going, so stop. So Zoe's saying, I want to support my family, so we've got a really good, happy, balanced life. Looking after my mental health and enjoying my job. Am I okay to aim for this? Absolutely. Like the first intake of collective students, that was literally like one of the resounding similarities of everybody. Like almost like, is it greedy to want everything? Can I be happy and balanced and have a great job and enjoy my job and look after my children? Like, it's yours, it's your world, it's your time. You can decide whatever it is. And then we just have to work out how you build that. And that's what we are doing for quite a few of the ladies that are inside already. Someone saying, I remember those first products, the ones I was talking about when I was remembering looking at the Pinks Boutique products going, oh my God, is anyone going to buy them? And because she was a student at our training schools in Derby, she said, I remember them sitting on the counter. So Zoe, that's a definite yes from me. You can definitely be aiming for all of those things. Okay. Thinking about purchasing a new couch, but I'm trying to work out if it will be a worthwhile investment as I only work 2 days a week. What I would definitely say is we all need to be more careful of maths and how we do it. Without a doubt, one of other than your hands, your second most important tool is the bed. I've always believed that. Like if the bed is not good for you or for them, like it's a really fundamental part of the treatment. So I'll always say when we're designing rooms, if I am going to kind of say you should spend money somewhere, it would be towards the bed. But also at the same time, it would be good to kind of know a little bit more about the maths generally. So if you're in the collective, we'd be looking at your general maths and going like, well, is this the moment to buy the bed? But in theory, the concept of it being a worthwhile investment, I would always say so. Like you and your hands. Yeah, Sarah agrees. Good bed. And Alex wants the same as you, Zoe. Successful, balance, business, and more work-life balance. So what's lovely about this is you work out that we generally do want all similar things. Sheena says, so grateful for the knowledge. Pleasure. It's always lovely to give it. Carly's got some little children to put to bed. Go and put them to bed. Anyone got any retail questions as well? I'll just scroll back up because I remember there was a few extra at the start. Oh, that's kind, Tracy. Tracy says, I'm in the collective already. I can definitely recommend it. I've learned so much and not long started. And Kirsty's been incredibly generous with her time, knowledge, and experience. Kerry's booked the call for tomorrow morning. Awesome. And remember, if you've got any doubt, like if you're thinking perhaps it is worth booking in that call because that's when you know, because obviously when we're talking here, we have to be quite general. Whereas you can tell me in 30 minutes exactly what's happening in your world, exactly what's right, exactly what's not right. Alex is going off to buy some fresh eucalyptus. Nice. I had mine with me today as well. Kerry's saying, what could you sell for reflexology? Okay, so balms, foot scrubs, anything that matches the product you work in. There's also really nice, like the Thai reflex sticks or the things that you can roll on. If you can get good quality, because a lot tend to be cheap synthetic, but things like the foot masks and socks that you can put on. Okay. Natalie says, Kirsty, thank you. I prior your approach so much. I miss the NEC trade. So do I. I was talking about those the other day. We need to do them. Lisa says, I'd love to do the collective. However, I don't have anywhere to do the treatments or clients or stock equipment. I'm not sure it'd be the right time. I have got another lady that joined when we did our first intake in exactly the same position. And I remember saying to her secretly, I was like, don't tell the others. I was like, but I think your position is amazing. I was like, the challenges for everyone else is that a lot of the things are locked in. So we're kind of retrofitting what's happening. It is always easier to be working with a blank sheet of paper. So being in the pre-planning stages, and the lady earlier that was saying she's really new and only come into this in August, it's like magic to have a blank sheet of paper, because the biggest win is not wasting money, because you can take all that information and go off from the first up. That's the huge saving, is that you don't then buy the wrong bed, put the plugs in the wrong place, like pick the wrong room that's attached to something that you shouldn't, not have the right conversations with the landlord. It's all about saving you that heartache, and it is very useful if you are earlier in. And those of you that aren't, it's still super, super useful, but just to help Lisa understand where she's in. Sarah says, can we use pink stock for retail? Yep, absolutely. As a brand, we're always really welcoming. It doesn't, like, people can do different modules, different parts. Jill's saying, would you mix gifts in with products or a special area for displays? I think it probably depends on how many gifts you've got versus the stuff that's already on the shelf. So if it's set out and it's really clearly facial, there's some logic of the facial gifts being in there and the body ones being with body. But at the same time, and what's quite typical in Sparland or big retail, if you're walking into Sephora or Selfridges, is that they probably would have specialized tables for Christmas gifting. So I think it probably depends on how much of each thing that you've got. Can you make a gift table look really distinct, or does it look better to put them with the matching parts? Paula says, I use rose balm for reflexology and can sell that. That's a great product to sell after reflexology, because anything that multitasks right now when people are more worried about cash is great, because that you can put on your face as well. Tracy's just said, I only really do massage and can say the collection is really relevant, because one of my worries when I joined is it was only for beauticians, but it's not. Couple of questions that come up a lot for those that are working and fully working in their businesses is, do I have time? Do I have time to join it? And I would always say, my answer would always be, that's probably the biggest reason to join it, because ultimately we all only have the same 24 hours. So we need to work on timing and how you deal with timing and where the priorities are, because so many of us prioritize things in our businesses or our worlds that are low level things, as opposed to going for the big levers that are actually going to make the differences that we want. Lisa said she's booked in for a call. I need a little bell that I ring when people are doing amazing things. Alex says toweling mitts. Maria says BC software. Tracy says Dunelm. I've also got a lot of mitts from Dunelm in the past, because they tend to match their colors exactly. So they're quite useful through the color ranges. We also always used to have amazing organic ones, but they were very expensive. So not quite as fun when you need like 200 of them. Questions about collective and when it starts and joins. So you would be joining for the beginning of December, but you'll get 13 months. And it's totally up to you how quick you can literally progress at the speed you want to through it. So at the point, everyone will be at slightly different points. So there's no like, you have to be there. So if you know you've got like full bookings through January, that's not a problem. And what we also do with those Q&A sessions is, if you know you can't be there, but you need some help, or you've got to a bit where you need extra help, you can load them into, like, we've got like a little hub, and you put them in, and then I answer the questions anyway, and it all gets recorded, and then it gets sent to you with the answers as well. One question as well is, I've done courses where people take your pennies and leave. I'm not very good at leaving. I'm like the total opposite. As you can tell when I do these calls, I could just keep staying. So you tend to have the opposite problem with me, is that I'm harder to get rid of. And Kerry says, where do you buy your sarongs from instead of couch roll? They tend to be in England the one thing that actually Pink's Boutique sells the most of. Like, we've got a decor side of Pink's Boutique. There's nothing to do with the product. And we are like the main source that brings them in. So when you see them in the Ellison's catalogs or things like that, they've come from us to begin with. So we'll pop a link in. The problem with sarongs is that they travel a long way to get here, because we produce them in beautiful Indonesian batik, and then they sell out really fast. So when I send out messages saying they're here, you need to grab them. So I know we've got grey left in stock at the moment, but we're waiting for the new year for some more colours. Jill says, inspiration incentives for December, clients to return in January other than a £5 voucher. Okay, so inspiration for incentives for December. So normally with December, there's two routes. You're either worried about January and people not coming back, or you've sold so many gift vouchers in December that you're worried about January being so busy. So one thing you could look at in those gifting sections is, I was working with a salon recently and we did like beautiful, like we had the gift voucher, but it always came with something tangible as well, because people sometimes don't like the idea of just handing over a voucher. So we had like vouchers with little try me boxes, or vouchers with something little, and the kind of price of the voucher and the size of the gift went up. So really we were like filling January spaces like that. Obviously giving them like incentives to come back. I do like your £5 voucher idea. We've done a similar thing in Proverb with people where we say, if you've bought something in December, we'll give you a £5 voucher in January, because we know naturally that people are not spending as much money in January. Anyone else got any good ways that they bring people back in the cold, bleak midwinter? You could, worth creating now, something interesting, some sort of treatment package for January that's only a January special that you could be telling people about in late November, early December, so that you've got something, because you could always play on that concept of most people don't really look forward to January. Could you have something nice booked in for January? So maybe create some sort of package which is all about that. Natalie says, can you restock your wooden breakfast trays soon? Can you see one there? That's like the last one left in the whole world. So weird. Luke had that exact conversation with me 2 mornings ago. He's like, why don't we have bed trays anymore? Because they're amazing and they're really useful in pedicure areas. But the problem we had was that they've got these kind of winged edges. And when we were shipping them, the wings kept breaking off. So our only way is if we can find a way of not having wings. Okay. But definitely have a look. Have a look at the link, which will show you through the syllabus for Collective and for Inner Circle. Any questions you've got, then you can just click on the link and I can answer those for you as well. We can jump on a call and answer those. And make sure that you remember to get your retail audit tomorrow morning. What does Lisa say? So Maria says, I've got to go now, but thank you for the last 3 years. Fabulous. I'm going to check my diary and book a call with you ASAP. Amazing. I've blocked in space for like Saturday, Sunday and Monday. And Lisa says, mine was a winter warmer, which I only offered in January. Could have the hot water bottles out. So definitely, I think you could make quite an interesting January package. Or the other thing to go for in January is obviously that kind of new you, new me scenario. Amazing. We'll ring a little bell for Maria booking her call. And what you're meant to have taken, and I am always like so happy with people like taking essentially the free help. It's in part, it's like such an important part of what I do, the giving side, and always making sure that you know as well that even if right now is not the moment, that it's there for you when the right moment is. Plus, it's so nice because all of us learn more and more from each other. Just popping back up the chat to see I didn't miss anything earlier while I was busy talking. Okay, a few bits. So Sarah was saying maybe writing on the price list all products used and treatments are available to purchase and please ask. Correct. That would be nice. Like, because you just don't know that they know. Like, you really do need to spell things out for clients sometimes in black and white. And especially those of you that have got cozier spaces, it is quite hard sometimes to recognize whether it's your bottle or whether I'm meant to be buying that bottle. Anne-Marie says she's thinking of a product of the week with a little sample pot and how to order. Nice. Sometimes your brands will be helpful and have like products of the month as well that you might be able to have. Alison's going to put a display in the client bathroom in the entrance hall. Bathrooms are a very, very useful space because by default, you've got to sit there and look at something. It's why you always get those posters on the back of service station doors, but you do read them. But just remember, if you're going to put things like that, that it has that really nice, what you don't want is a just kind of piece of paper stuck up on the back of the door. That is not going to help our luxury journey. Needs to be nice, framed, nice paper thickness. Okay. Polly says, thank you ever so much. Thank you for all the inspiration for me to think about. I'm going to look at adding these special touches. Awesome. And Paula says, I loved it. And I'm hoping to get the new retreat to join. Amazing. Anyone else got any questions before we depart? And Friday night, you're allowed to do something else at 7:30. Luke's allowed to do something else as well. Oh, it was an amazing, team. I definitely hope that some of you have a look at the collective. Those of you that have booked in calls, I cannot wait. Those of you that fancy it, if you've got any inkling at all that you should, just book it in. Do not worry about taking up more time. It's worth researching it and having a look. Alex is off. It's been lovely to catch up. It's been a long time, lovely lady. Paula's going. Okay. Pleasure, team. I will see you all soon, and keep watching out for when we do this sort of thing soon next. If I don't see any of you before, have a beautiful Christmas. Remember, 30 days to go. Let's go and put some of those quick wins in place. Thanks, team. Bye-bye. Bye, Layla. Bye, Alex. Bye, Debbie. Bye, Lisa. Bye, Susan. Bye, Stacey. Bye, Brenda. And there's Debbie. And Sarah. Oh, Alex, I can see your face. I haven't been able to see you. Amazing work, team. Lovely to have you all. I will see you all soon.